Hello, welcome to the Diablo 3 podcast. We are online at DiabloIncGamers.com. I'm your host, Flux, and I'm joined on the show by N3rdwords.
Hello.
And by Katniss.
Aloha.
A.k.a. Levathian.
Leviathan, come on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't you play Final Fantasy?
I don't speak French. So, we are talking about seasons tonight. Both these guys leapt on there Friday night and made massive progress, and it was hugely successful, or possibly not. We'll hear about that very shortly. And this is all about seasons. So, we did a prep podcast on Thursday night with N3rdwords and another guy who's not available tonight. So it's just N3rdwords and Katniss is filling in, a.k.a. Levathian. So he's like, no, that's not it. So we were just talking about before we started recording. We should get to that first. The big topic Friday night was cheese, and not the kind you have with wine. So in like an hour and a half, there were people playing softcore, and you were observing that, N3rdwords. Why don't you tell us what the exploit was, and then what you did when you found out about that?
Yeah, well, like I was saying earlier, me and my friends, we got our 4-man group together. We jumped in normal difficulty, just started going along. We got it up to, I think, hard. We were up to hard. We were trucking along, good drops, doing pretty well, moving at a pretty good pace. And then somebody dinged 70, and it went, the worldwide, hey, world's first, whatever. And it was an hour and a half in, and I was like, wait, no, there's just no way that someone did that legitimately. So I got on the forums while I was playing, brought it up on the side, and sure enough, the Miners Gold event was a big community that popped up, and people were jumping in and just running that quest on Torment 6. For those that don't know about that exploit, or I guess, I don't know if you call it an exploit, but...
I would call it an exploit,
Yeah,
yes.
I would too. But
I'm pretty confident saying that word.
But you put it up to Torment 6, and you look for the Miner's Gold quest in the Howling Plateau of Act 2, run straight up to the center where it is, pop the quest, and then die. And then wait for, I don't know, about 15, 20 seconds, respawn, the quest will go off, and you have to be alive to get the experience, but you level crazy fast, crazy fast. So it was, everyone was just doing that, and Matriarch's Bones, I believe, in Act 1, and Jar of Souls in Act 1, and use that to boost their way all the way up.
And the Misers, the Misers thing in Act 5 also, it's the same thing.
I didn't, they put an Elite Pack in there, though, so I thought that was enough. I mean, you probably still pop it, I guess. And you get
Well, you're dead the whole time anyway.
That's true.
You just gotta be alive when it ends, though. And obviously, if you do that with 4 players.
That's why it took me so long.
Were people doing all the way to 70, or is that just to get to 30 or 40 and then they start playing for real?
No, everyone did that all the way up.
All the way, yeah.
People did it all the way to 70, and then some people even did it all the way up to Paragon 100. I know there were a lot of people that were still running for a while afterwards, because it's still profitable even at the Paragon levels. So we stopped as soon as we hit 70, because once that happened, we were level 29-ish, and then we switched over because we realized that if we were going to try to make that top 1,000, there was no way to do it by playing regular, at least not in softcore. I know hardcore didn't have nearly that big a trouble. So
yeah, I can.
So beautiful segue there. So speaking of hardcore, you were trying it hardcore, Katniss. What did you do? How did your Friday night go?
Yeah, so Nineball, who's also a pretty regular guy on the podcast here, he and I were discussing Friday morning. I was at work for a little bit, and we were exchanging some emails on strategies, which acts and bounties we were going to hit, and then we managed to pull together a 4-person party right at the last minute when the seasons were about to go live, and we just did bounties for quite a while. We were leading everybody on our friends list in terms of level. Up until about level 30, and then one of our friends passed us, and we were like, what the heck, how did, we were doing pretty good, what happened? And it turned out he was doing rifts, so we ended up switching over to rifts, which ended up being a lot faster for the sole purpose of just finding more pools of reflection. And even though obviously they weren't giving you a long lasting boost, because you would kind of get the pool, and then by the time you complete a rift, it was already well and done. They just gave you that little extra burst. But yeah, none of the shenanigans of, doing the bounties or doing, the one we were just talking about, and then dying. Obviously, you can't do that in hardcore.
Right.
So the race seemed a little more legit there. And, was Nineballs and I's, that's probably not the right grammar there, but it was our goal to...
he has 7 extra balls.
It was our goal to just make the list, the top 1,000. And for a while, no one had dinged it at all. So we're like, could we be the first? And, the adrenaline's kind of pumping a little bit. And we're like, no, there's got to be someone doing it way more efficiently. But I ended up being number 286 on the list. And then Nineball and another guy we were playing with, they ended up high 300s.
No, so as long as you're ahead of your friends, that's all that really matters,
Well, I
right?
got lucky. I got the new Leoric's crown, which gives you the double benefit
Oh
of
man.
whatever's in there. So
Yeah, I was gonna ask, did you guys go? But it's level what, 22 or level 20, and you can then Leoric can do it, and it's a 100% chance he'll drop some either that or the other legendary hat though. He can drop two, right?
all right, I think the broken crown maybe. We didn't even
Yeah.
target him though. I just happened to find
You
it.
so you didn't specifically do Leoric at 20 or whatever. You
No,
just happened to get it.
yeah, I just happened to find it along the way.
Lucky you.
But they both got Leoric signets actually along the way too. So I was like, dang, I'm so jealous. And then my crown dropped. I was like, all right, I feel better.
Which is the ring that gives you also experience, right?
Exactly.
And you just all your gold was going for rubies in your helm, basically, or what?
Yeah, pretty much that.
Obviously, you didn't have a marquee to twink or anything, so
Right. So yeah, whenever I could upgrade it, that was pretty much where the gold was going. Because we were getting the thing about doing rifts too was that we were getting gear so quickly, we didn't have to worry about crafting it or enchanting extra stats. Like we were playing pretty safely, pretty quickly, just because the rifts were providing so many rares.
Did you guys stay on normal difficulty the whole time?
Yeah. Yep. We did normal the whole time. Figured it would just.
not hard. Huh.
Yeah, we
That's
figured it
awesome.
would just be efficient. Yeah, and just keep running.
Because hard is 75% more experience, and it's not that much more difficult in terms of hit points. So
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely things I think that we could have done better in terms of making it more efficient. So there's some stuff we'll look at for season 2 to get it better. But yeah,
yeah, save that thought. I have that question coming up shortly. Just back to the whole cheesing thing. What do you guys think about the whole cheesing of the same quest? Is that something Blizzard should fix?
Yes, it sucks. I saw a forum post. Now, mind you, I know that it's going to be that way in softcore, and that's kind of the big thing about the forums. Everyone's like, "Well, what did you expect?" But I don't know. Maybe I'm naive in the sense that
You
I
expected better. That's what you
yeah, I really did. I mean, I don't know why I did. I was very naive, like I said, but I feel like there were a few forum posts that said that if you locked out Torment difficulty or like locked out Master difficulty at like 60 or whatever it is, and then Torment difficulty at 70, that would help fix that problem. And I would be totally okay with that because I wasn't trying to push that high into the difficulty anyways at first. I think the highest we got, like I said, was hard before that happened. So I would like that, and I feel like that's a good fix for it. But I don't know. It was just frustrating. We were grinding along. It was going really, really well, and then someone dinged it in an hour and a half, and it just deflated me immediately.
yeah, it just makes the achievement feel cheap.
Yeah,
it's like
absolutely.
what's the real worth of this if anyone can just cheese their way to the top? I hope they disable it or make it harder to get to or add an elite or something.
Yeah.
How long were you to 70, Katniss?
So we ended up dinging ours like right before 5 a.m. and we started exactly at 9, so a little less than 8 hours.
Do you know? I was wondering just how long it took you to get to 30, because I think he just said he was there in 90 minutes.
30. I wasn't keeping super tabs on
Yeah,
it.
who knows?
Maybe 2
I'm
hours.
just wondering if the risk of any potential death was, I mean, because 1 to 30, you're not really that much danger on a low difficulty level anyway, you know?
No.
Now,
not
mind
at all.
you, and I was saving this for the podcast because I knew that softcore would come into this. I actually have not died yet on my wizard. I know it doesn't count, but I still haven't died on my wizard.
Yeah.
So,
You know what? That's good for you because I have died.
oh man.
Yep.
Oh,
So how
man.
you get to 70 and then died and started over again, you said?
No, so I got to 70 and then I kept playing. Nine Ball went to bed and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna push. I feel pretty awake and I feel like I can start gearing up a little bit.
5 in the morning?
Yeah.
Okay, then.
And then I only played for like another hour and a half and took a quick nap and came back. I was getting super lucky with drops. Like I got the new Crusader Shield for the seasons
Oh,
right
wow.
away, and that thing is insane. And then I got a what's it called? Blade of Prophecy to go with it. So I was just doing insane condemns. And I guess I should say the Crusader Shield takes away the cooldown for condemn and changes it to costing 40 wrath. So it makes it super OP because that skill does like 1200% damage, weapon
Yeah.
damage. And so I was cruising along. I was like trucking Torment 2 at that point, and I just got dumb. I was fighting an elite in a really narrow corner. They threw down walls, and I literally couldn't move. And if I didn't attack them, I actually would have lived. But I was just like, oh, I'll just kill them so the threat stops. But they had Molten, and they all exploded on me in that point where I couldn't move. So all 3 bursts went off. There's nothing I could do.
Of course, the Molten goes through the walls. You know, your attacks won't, but Molten does, of course.
That's super fair.
Well, I guess your attack went through it because you're condemning. You were condemned to your fate.
There you go.
But that pun never gets old.
I mean,
So So you both think the cheese should be fixed. I mean, it seems like it'd be pretty easy. Just make the stupid quest require you to kill some monsters to get the quest, right? But
Yeah.
You would
Well,
think.
I mean, opposed to difficulty level, blocking on difficulty levels and
see,
stuff.
they've tried fixing the quest before, but even nerfing the amount of stuff you get from it and like adding elite packs in randomly doesn't dissuade anybody, and still they'll just find a different one to do that's more efficient. I feel like the locking the difficulty, because if you couldn't do it on Torment 6, that's not that efficient. Like if you're running it on Master, then the Miner's Gold event is still good, but you're not going to chain run it. Like you could,
Right.
it's still just as efficient to kill more monsters and stuff. So like I feel like that's a really really good fix. I read that and I'm on board for that, but who knows what's actually going to happen. I feel like they keep targeting quests rewards rather than targeting like the problem.
I mean, if they just nerf the experience for it further or something, I don't know. I mean, I just wondering I guess we should post a vote for that when we get this, on the Monday.
I think that'd be a good one, because I feel like that's the problem, is if you nerf it too much, then that quest becomes completely pointless to run even, regular way.
Yeah,
so
for people
I don't know.
legitimately playing, yeah.
Like and that's I don't know. I feel like there's some answer there that we don't have yet, but it'd be cool if they did. It's just that cheese really really sucked.
So how far did you go, Nerdwords? After you got to 70, you kept playing?
Yeah, we hit.
Are you Paragon 200 yet, or what?
No, Paragon 48, I think, right now. I had to work yesterday and today all day, so I've just been playing like when I got off work. But basically, I wanted to hit 70, and then after that, it wasn't really a race, because rift times and stuff can be clocked pretty much whenever. But so once I hit 70, I was good to go. But like I said, I was trying to hit at least the top 1,000. And I think I was 61, and like someone hit 772 or something, like on my friends list, and I was like, well, that means I'm not going to make it. There's just no way.
And then it was probably like 1,000 people an hour, every 100 guys a minute once you got to a certain point. So
Right,
it's like,
yeah.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, I want to say I was like 64, 65 when I checked the leaderboards and saw that it was already full, and we just kind of slowed down from there. I really feel like for Season 2 that they should do something to lock that out, because, I mean, they had talked about like locking out even adventure mode in some seasons and making people run through the campaign. I'd be okay with even that, even though that would be kind of frustrating.
That'd be interesting.
It would. I mean, it'd be a more, I don't know, I guess it'd be a more telling way to go through the game, because you'd actually have to run through. I mean, then you're like kind of competing as far as speed running the story, and for those of us that have been playing since vanilla, we're kind of at an advantage for having run it 1,000 times.
Mm-hmm. They kind of work in the conquest that they already have.
What if they force you to watch the cinematics to do that?
Oh God!
Like if you have to watch all the cinematics, you get like a 50% experience. Like you get a free pool of reflection for every cinematic you watch.
That'd be fun. I mean,
That'd be
they're
cool.
good cinematics. So.
True.
500th time, yes. So one of you guys was getting into this a minute ago, but what would you do to change things? I mean, how did it match your expectations? Obviously, the cheesing was kind of not what you expected. At least one of you. So you were talking on the last show, Nerdwords. You had this whole thing on your wall, like your whiteboard with all your notes and bullet points.
Yes.
And apparently, you just should have had run Miner's Gold in T6.
Yeah.
That should have been your entire whiteboard.
Yeah.
And you would have won.
Well, to be fair,
So-
my board is all about build, had nothing to do with bounties. But yeah, I know what you mean. It completely changed the way we had to play that entire night. My plan for everything was like, well, that went out the window.
So what would you do if you could change things? I mean, obviously that kind of is a loaded question in terms of if Blizzard makes actions on this, changing these cheesy quests. But I mean, you were just saying, Katniss, right? I wish I'd done things differently next time. How would you have changed what you were doing?
Oh yeah, I mean, just like in terms, actually, so just generally, I thought that it was really smooth. Like I love the fact that when 9 o'clock hit, 9 Eastern, it popped up, seasons are available, and like there wasn't any guesswork of like, can I make my character now? Like, do I have to spam like create character to get this? So I thought they implemented it really well. There was no lag, which was great for hardcore, and it was really smooth. So some of the things I would work on for the future would just more be like party strategies, assembling people that are probably a little bit more hardcore about it, because there were people in our party at times who were, kind of like messing around in town or just like being slow to get out of games when we needed to make like new acts and stuff. So, I mean, like there's so many little minutes of efficiency that probably add up if you really want to go for like that top 100 or, just making the list in general.
That was 9ball, right? He was the one who was slow and things.
I'm not going to name any names.
He was watching the story again. You know how he is with the story, right?
Reading all the quests.
Yeah. Well, this is really
so how about you, Nerdwords? What would you do differently?
Well, I'd start running Miner's Gold at level 1. That's, I mean, on softcore, it's really the only option to even be able to compete with it. And I guess run Miser's Will, because I thought that one with the Elite Pack was not going to work. So that's probably why it took me so much longer. Because even with cheesing, it still took me about 5.5 hours to get to 70. So I wasn't that far behind Rankil over there.
And of course, you were doing the same thing for the first hour and a half, basically, and then you just switched off to the other stuff. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like also like what he said too is getting people that are a little more hardcore about it. I mean, I had a really good group of guys, but last minute our fourth like couldn't make it, so he was running a little bit late. So when he jumped in, we had to kind of carry him, and then I think when we hit 70, he was at 61. So he was a pretty good ways behind us in experience. It would have been nice to actually have a 4-man group running all the time. But I will say that I mean, I don't mean to sound like a whiner about it because I still had a lot of fun this weekend, and I think the best part about it was seeing my friends list filled with people playing Diablo 3. Like,
yes.
All of my friends that have been playing or like took a break or play WoW all the time, they were all over playing in with me. It was just a lot of fun.
So my next question was it fun or just a grindy endurance race to get to 70? So you said it was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a lot of fun with it.
Was it fun just for the goal, or was it actually minute by minute? You're just thinking this will be fun when I get to 70 kind of thing?
I mean, it was fun. Like, I had fun like racing to 70, but even after that, I got kind of deflated from the cheese. I just being in Skype and like talking with friends about Diablo and loot and everything like that. It was just nice to have like a group of people around. Like, I play with a lot of people online that I don't know in real life, so actually having my friends in real life and even my brother involved in playing was a lot of fun.
And then back to playing WoW today, or what?
No, actually, that's the best part. Is I got on today. My brother, who plays mostly WoW, he's a higher Paragon level than I am. He's running a Barbarian right now, and he's ridiculous. He's kind of helping me through TE3 right now. So
how about you, Katniss? Was it fun, or was it just because it was something new? I mean, you can make a level 70 anytime you want, right? But it was different when everyone else was doing it.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, having that fresh start and everyone starting at that one time just made it such a cool community experience because everyone's going at the same time. You're eyeing each other's drops in the clan chat and stuff, and be like, oh, you got a Leorix already? Ding, I gotta catch up. And so it's just this really cool competitive atmosphere, but everyone's kind of cheering for everyone. And I normally don't play with other people, so it was a really refreshing experience for me to hop into a party game for, once. I want to say I've honestly played in a party probably about 4 times since the release of ROS. So this was like a huge change for me, and I really enjoyed it. It's actually making me liking being in games with other people a lot more.
Except for then when Nineball was in town talking to Leah.
Yeah, always with his lore books.
Yeah, over the reading. I was actually enjoying it, like finding lore books. I'm like, oh, whoa, sweet. I found another lore book because it's like 600 experience over. It's like ding, ding. I was doing. Of course, I was doing Act 1 bounties, and of course, you always get the goddamn spider caves. It's like, oh,
every time, yeah.
The worst.
You say that for your last one, you're just running ever. I'm like I'm finding every dead end in the level. It's like, well, at least I got the hermits and load. At least it's some experience.
Yep, make it worth your while.
Which was nice when you're level, you're level 14 trying to level up or whatever. But yeah, pretty soon you go back to hating that level with all, every fiber of your being. So you both enjoyed it. So you kept going. You said you're up to 50-somethings in Paragons and Nerdwords. Where have you gotten to, Katniss?
I am 5 million EXP away from Paragon 100.
Oh,
ding,
wow.
ding. And that's after dying, too.
Yeah. So I spent...
So what did you have? Did you save up in your staff? Did you lose everything when you died, or what?
I got insanely lucky with RNG. So by the time I died, I was wearing 2-piece Roland's Legacy set, 2-piece Akon set, the Crusader Shield from the Seasons, and the Blade of Prophecy. And so
they're all gone forever.
They're all gone. I'll find them again, though. No worries. And I actually had a Thunder Fury on my follower too. Like I had just gotten insane drops. Wow. So all that stuff, obviously I lost, but I was able to replace a lot of the things I was wearing previous to that, which weren't that bad. So all those are in the stash. So I kind of had like another gear set in there. Now I think I'm up to 3-piece Rolands again. No Akons, unfortunately. But yeah.
So after you died, did you have a friend power level too, or did you level through like regular?
No, I'll tell you exactly what happened. So I died. It was 5 a.m. this morning. I died. And I kind of sat there just being like, yep, that was my fault. Can't be mad at all. I logged off. I created a new character, like put it, made sure I was in adventure mode. Then I completely shut down my computer. I went to bed for 6 hours, woke back up and just grinded from 1 to 70 by myself.
Oh, nice.
And I'd found...
But you had marquee gyms and stuff.
Exactly.
How long did that take you?
That was 4 hours that time around, because I also had a Kane's set drop, so I had crafted 3 of those. I had the Ruby and the Helm, and then I was able to put the Leorix crown back on because I saved that.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah.
So your fun of multiplayer lasted for one night, now you're back to solo.
Well, now that
Well, Kurt, you died solo, right?
I did.
You were by yourself.
Yep. It's my lesson. Don't play by myself.
but then you didn't learn that lesson.
Well, leveling
But
back
you haven't.
up.
Yeah, you haven't died again though. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. Everyone else has just gotten to 70, and you're like, "Hey, I'm starting over again. Anybody want to come help me?" And they're like, "No, we're 70."
Yeah.
There's that community spirit we all love so much.
Well, I mean, everyone is in that grind, torment, greater rifts phase now, so no one wants to come back and like do power leveling.
Yeah, good news for my level 15 monk. So, so what are your guys' long-term plans? Are you going to keep playing in the seasons? I mean, at some point in a week or in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, it'll just be like what it was a month ago, right?
Yeah. I mean,
And
Basically.
everyone's back to level 70 with just a fewer Paragon points.
yeah. I mean, I feel like some people are already almost there. If I had been off this weekend, I'd probably be one of those crazy people. But I'm just, I don't know. I'm basically treating my seasonal wizard as if that is my only character right now, like focusing as if the game just launched again. Once it rolls over, I may jump back on my other guy. It just depends on my gear. But my focus is completely on seasons right now. I know that even in softcore, it's kind of trivial, and a lot of people are being like, what was the point, whatever. But I'm still having fun with the fresh economy and starting over and finding like the set pieces that I already have on my live character. So I don't know. I'm really, really enjoying it so far, even with the cheese. I just wish they fix it, or hope they fix it for the next season.
Like, I definitely feel like seasons is the thing that I'll keep doing until it's over. And the leaderboards are definitely motivating to keep that going, to keep trying to gear better. Before I died, I had done a greater rift up to as high as I could just to test, where the gear was at and figure out what I needed to improve on by then. And I was a number 4 Crusader on that list, so I was like, all right, like this is looking really good.
What were you like 22 or something, or where were you?
I beat 18 with like 15 seconds left in the rift.
Yeah.
And then there were a couple of people who had done 20 and 19, so they were above me. And now I got this Crusader actually, and she's done Rift 19, so I guess she's better than the other one somehow. Probably just luckier with the RNG of the Rift that I was in. But the list is already like way more competitive because I'm behind in gear now since I missed a couple hours of farming. But yeah, I feel like this is kind of like what Nerdwords said. This is my main character now, and assuming that the gear keeps coming and people keep wanting to play, because I also want to hit some of the like 2-player and 3-player leaderboards too, and I think it'll just be seasons from here on out.
Are either of you guys achievement hunters? Are you going to be making other classes to 70 and all that kind of stuff? Or are you just powering on your one main? What do you think on Nerdwords?
Well, you know
said
me.
you'd only done 70s in the past for your useless non-wizard classes.
Yeah, I'm an achievement guy, especially for consoles. I pretty much only play console games for storylines and achievements because I'm weird. But with with Diablo, I did the same thing. I just created 70s, got them to 70, did the achievements I could, sharded the gear, let them chill. With seasons, I'm not sure. Right now, I'm way too focused on the wizard. Like I'm achievement oriented, but that usually happens when I get bored or I don't want to run rifts, and I go, oh, what can I do? That's a little different. But for the most part, I'm just focused on gear right now. But now, mind you, a week from now, if I've got full T6 or a full Firebird 6-piece, then I don't know. I may start doing some achievements because I'll be steamrolling.
Yeah, I haven't been targeting them like specifically yet. Just happy to get them when they pop up now. But I think, like Nordors was saying, eventually you get to that point where you kind of hit the gear wall or you hit the rift wall, and you kind of you want to play Diablo, but there's just nothing that's super enticing. So you do end up looking at which easy achievements you can just knock off in an hour or two or whatever. So it'll probably get to that point. I know there's a leaderboard that tracks it, so maybe at some point I'll look at that and say, what number do I need to get to be at a significant position on this board?
And I think that incentivizes it even less, because if you start, if you're going for anything specifically, then you're going to go for that specifically. I'm more worried about greater rift times and getting in with gear and pushing that. But if I was going for the achievements leaderboard, then I'd probably just dive straight into that, not even worry about other stuff. So
exactly,
I feel like it focuses you more on what you're more interested in the game, and then you can kind of branch out from there after after it dies down a little bit.
It's a perfect way to put it.
Why Crusader, Katniss? Is that just your main for always, or did you negotiate with your other party members? Everyone had a different class or something, or what? How did you plan that out?
No, it was just when I booted up Reaper of Souls, I initially wanted to play the Crusader just because it was the newest class. I'm always interested in what's new, and I was playing Barb in vanilla, so coming over to another strength character just made sense for me. And I've been in love. Like I was a Demon Hunter alt, but kind of ended up liking that more than my Barb, but just played Barb more so it had more hours. But when Reaper of Souls released, I thought I would play the Crusader to 70 and then go right back to Demon Hunter. But I have not looked back. I think I've played like 4 hours of Demon Hunter and just all Crusader. I just love the class. It's strong. Its sets are really good in terms of like enabling builds. They work well in terms of whatever you want to do, farming, rifts, the Ubers, etc. Like it's just a really well-rounded class. So
I had wondered if people would be doing new classes when the season started. Like, I'm playing a monk. I haven't played a monk since the beta, and I was like, I haven't played a monk in forever. It's a nice time to get a new, fresh start. And Katniss, you say you do Crusaders, and now you're doing a Crusader. And N3rdwords, you only do Wizards, and now you're doing Wizards.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of you guys thought about trying something new or different for this, or you wanted to play what you know how to play?
I thought about it. I entertained the thought for like a half a second because, especially as far as like performance and stuff goes, like Witch Doctors and Demon Hunters and even Crusaders are far above where the Wizard really is right now, especially solo. I mean, Wizards are a lot better off than they were, that's for sure. I'm not complaining, but I felt like
Firebirds works finally, so
yeah. I mean, it works, but you got to find it still. So
true.
It's just a matter of finding it now. But I'm really excited to get a hold of that. But until then, like I'm not going to be able to compete with high level stuff. So it's really for the Wizard, you're grinding that. I don't know. So I really thought about doing a Witch Doctor because Witch Doctors are just blowing through stuff right now. But I can't. That's going to the dark side. I can't do that.
I mean, also for me too, I forgot to mention the weekend before, so last weekend, I was playing because they put that gold buff in for the weekend. And I was like, oh man, this is awesome. It'll help me get back into Diablo because I had taken a break from it previously just to play some other games. And so I'm chugging along. It's like Saturday night. And then the DDoS attacks start. And I actually got kicked out of the game in the middle of an elite fight. And I lost my like non-season Crusader. So A, I had an open slot now, which was nice. And B, I'd lost a Crusader. So that kind of pushed me to make a new one too.
Man.
See, and people say the hackers don't hurt anyone but the company. See, your argument's against that.
I'm a victim.
What was it? Lizard family, or what the hell they were called? Some kind of reptile
squad,
something.
yeah.
Squad.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so the lizard squatted your Crusader to hell, basically.
Oh yeah, rip.
You were talking about finding good gear earlier. Having good luck with drops. I haven't at all. But I did early on. I found like the first. I hit 70 at 3:28 in the morning, and 14 minutes later, I found the seasonal wand. So like normal mode bounties for me have been heaven because it's just I can teleport forever.
Oh,
and
right.
That is the jam. Like I don't know if anyone's found it yet, or if I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's garbage, whatever. But at low levels, and even I'm in Torment 3 right now, and like I just run because Wormhole's pointless, and that's the rune that most people use. You run Calamity on it, so you're just teleporting wave of forces everywhere you go. And then I have the legendary gem that does the 200 or 2,000% weapon damage as poison, and it hits every single mob you touch with damage. So I just teleport, blast them with Calamity, let them tick down while I move on to the next pack, just teleporting forever.
Well, that sounds sexy.
It's a lot of fun. It's really understated how much fun it is. If you're playing a Wizard in the seasons and you get a hold of that thing, don't just throw it away. Try it out. It's fun.
So it's like Enigma returned, basically.
Yeah, it really is.
Except you're a wizard, you're actually supposed to be able to teleport.
Yeah. The one problem you have is like worried about resource, because that's the biggest part with it is you're spending 25 arcane power per now.
Right.
So if you're using spenders like Blizzard or Arcane Torrent or anything, it gets pretty hairy. But if you just spam that and have like a good mirror ball with Magic Missile, that would be a really sweet build. I'm just waiting on a mirror ball drop.
You need which are the pants now? It's hexing, Mr. Yan's hexing pants, or the other ones?
It's the hexing pants, yeah.
It doesn't work for wizards though, right? It only works for basic skills.
Oh no,
Wizards
you're talking about the
Depth
Depth
Diggers.
Diggers.
Yeah.
Yeah, Depth Diggers are the
Yeah.
ones that boost your basic skills.
Yeah, and they stopped it for us. Like that was amazing. But I mean, I get it. They don't want Magic Missile to be like the end all be all for wizards, so I was okay with it. I was running a Magic Missile build for pretty much all of ROS because that first legendary I found when I hit 70 in ROS was a mirror ball, and it was a really well rolled mirror ball too with +2. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of glad. I mean, they nerfed it a little bit by making it not be able to infinite stack on the conflagration rune, but it still feels really good. So, you pair that with a good meteor or something, then that would be nice. Which, speaking of which, that's what I found the Grand Vizier, the new one, right before we started on this. So I was kind of toying with that a little bit. It felt really nice. It felt really good. I feel like it'd feel better if I was wearing Firebirds, because then all of my meteors would stack as dots, and that would be just disgusting. But I'm still running out of resource a lot because I'm teleporting everywhere, so it makes it hard to balance the two. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of whether I want to teleport everywhere or whether I want to meteor everything.
Yeah, I feel like for the Crusader, the next OP build is definitely going to be the new shield, which I don't even know the name of. I'm just like, it's the new shield. It's so good.
Yeah, I don't know the one either. So
Frider's Wrath.
There you go. Yes.
F-R-Y-D-E-H-R.
That's exactly
Frider?
it.
Fritter?
Frider. Sure.
Fritters?
But you take that, you take Blade of Prophecy, which makes it so that when you put a condemn on a mob, it also puts a condemn off too. So you're getting double the bang for your buck.
What does Condemn do
Holy
for
crap.
non-Crusaders, by the way?
Yeah. So Condemn is a skill where normally it has like a 3-second wind down time, I guess you would call it, where it's kind of like Explosive Blast, if you're familiar with that, where you kind of activate it, and then you kind of want to vacuum up the mobs or get them all around you because an explosion goes off after a delay. But there's a rune on it that eliminates the delay, and then if you get the shield, it takes off the cooldown, so you're just spamming a resource to spend it. So if you do that with a Blade of Prophecy, which is doubling it, and then the Akon set, which makes your at I think the 4-piece, when you're in Akarat's Champion, all of your spenders are cut in half, so it just costs 20 Wrath instead of the 40 Wrath to do it. You would just be spamming it forever and just killing everything. Yeah.
So it's like a wand of woe with a shield, basically.
Pretty much. So that's good. I'm looking forward to that. I was so close to assembling it.
Oh, you'd be Paragon 150 by now if you had that.
Well, most likely.
Oh, and if 9-Ball hadn't wasted all that time in town with Leah, for God. Talking to the goddamn Crusader again.
See, when the console version of the game came out, I'm actually running Crusader right now, and I love Condemn, and I don't have obviously that because that's not in the console version. So I can just imagine, like, I kind of want to roll a Crusader now on Seasons. That's insane.
Yeah, definitely recommend.
Well, it's only 4 hours to 70, so there you go. Or 2.5.
Yeah, I was about to say I'll just go straight to cheesing it. Yeah,
Miner's Gold.
If it exists.
And doing that with a Marquee Plus Ruby in your hat, in your Leorix hat.
Yep, level fast.
Was it interesting having no Paragon points again? Because like the first ones, you're like, ooh, look, 0.1% more critical hit chance.
That's the biggest bummer, honestly. That's the only thing that I hate about it. I mean, I'm glad that it resets and we have our own fresh start. Like, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but not having max movement speed is driving me insane.
It's like molasses.
Yeah, you have to stack it, and as a wizard too, if I can't get away, I'm done. So I mean, I've been lucky so far. I haven't had any troubles. I actually, like I said, I haven't died at all yet. But it's man, it gets hairy and it's scary. So I have to run movement speed on my boots, and then obviously I've got it in my Paragon points that I have so far, but I'm still not max, and it drives me crazy.
Well, luckily you can teleport indefinitely.
Yeah, so, well, there's that
resource allowing, I guess.
Yep.
They just need to give you a horse.
Yeah.
Oh, a horse, of course. You're the wrong class for that, I'm afraid.
I was in a game with a Crusader a minute ago doing Torment 2 Rifts, and he was doing the little flame horse, and it was just ridiculous. So ridiculous. It looked like a lot of fun, too.
Yeah. It's just such a fun class to play. That's really why I wanted to do it for Seasons, too, is they just have so many cool toys.
So, any final thoughts, guys? We've kind of covered all the questions I had for Seasons. You're just enjoying it, and it's revitalized your interest in the game, and everything's wonderful.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I've been really happy to see a lot of people more active and online, and even on the forums and stuff. You know, I mean, I know a lot of people are complaining, but there's still a lot more discussion going on about builds at lower levels and all that kind of thing. It's just everything's fleshing it out with the new legendaries, and you know how everything's tuned in with greater rifts. I know that there's still. I don't think there's been many people, or any people for that matter, that can get past Rift like 36, 37 without the furnace, which I see being a min-max problem later on down the line. But
well, Demon Hunters can, but
well, yeah, besides Demon Hunters, but I meant Wizards. Sorry, exclusive Wizard player here. My bad. I ignored pretty much everything else. But
there are other classes in this game.
I know, weird. But yeah, so I mean, it's been a lot of fun though. I'm really glad that they popped Seasons when they did. I wish I'd had more notice so I could request it off work for a week. That's all.
Do you want the season to last for a week or a month or 3 months or a year? It sounds like you guys enjoyed it so much you just want to start again like next weekend.
No, I feel like
Uh-uh.
I feel like the good part of it is that it is like a fresh start after it being out for about 6 months feels nice. I mean, where we were at right before this, it released in March 25th.
Hmm.
So, we're about at the 6 month mark, and like honestly, if they had waited a month and told me, hey, October, whenever is when we're going to release seasons, I would have been okay with that. I know people we're getting a little stale with it at a certain point, but I feel like they had a really good timing with releasing the first season, and it's a good pace so far. Now, I would be okay with a little bit shorter, but I feel like 3 months is about the limit on that. Less than that, and I would be like, well, there's not really a point.
I'm completely in agreement, actually. I would love, I think the sweet spot is probably like about 3 to 4 months. And especially because that way you get 3 seasons per year.
Yeah.
And that means, 3 infusions of new items and things to chase after, which is awesome. But exactly like you said, Nervous, you're like right on the ball with it. Like it was getting stale to the point where people were taking breaks to play other games and stuff. And like, there just wasn't as much activity. And now, like, you could tell everyone was just hungry to
Yep.
get back into Diablo and play because, I'm looking at my list and there's like 50 plus people and I've never seen that since the release of ROS. So,
Yeah.
it just,
And
it's
they're in
nice.
Diablo. They're not in Warcraft or Heroes of the Storm or
Exactly,
anything like
exactly.
that.
Yeah, man. So yeah, I'm totally digging it. I'm actually very, like you were saying earlier, I'm very much looking forward to season 2, just because I think they'll learn a lot from how season 1 started off.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and the next iteration of it should hopefully be a little more tasty in terms of starting off in that race to 70. But Flux, like you were saying, I would never want it to be like 1 week to 2 week season because doing this has just been like taxing. Like the addiction
Yeah.
is there, but it's just so it's like playing that hard for that long, like that 7 to 8 hours of just grinding nonstop. Like I'm definitely gonna be feeling it.
I would be single if that was a weekly thing, so there's no way. There's no way.
So, random question: if you could twink one item to your seasonal character, you're starting off the seasons, and you can have a gem, a single item. You can do the highest level ruby. You can do a level 70 weapon that's got whatever minus 30 level requirement. So once you get to 40, you're just instantly mega powered. What do you think would be the most useful? What would be the most fun to do?
Absolutely, the legendary wand, the new one. I can just imagine. I know that when I got the wand and I put the calamity rune on it, it almost one shots everything in normal. So if I was leveling and I got it at like level 1 to start with, and I was able to just spam, oh, that would be disgusting. I would
But
level.
it would be crap by level 30 then if it was level 1 to start
Well,
with. Though.
okay, if it leveled with me, then let's put it that way.
Well, I'm saying just like a real item now in the game.
Um,
So you can give yourself that wand at level 40 or whatever if you want, but then it'll suck by 70 or
yeah,
something, right? So,
exactly. Well, if that's the case, then probably, I mean, max level ruby, faster leveling is all that matters.
Hmm.
what would you do, Katniss?
I would go with a Wreath of Lightning legendary gem
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
because that AOE is just
So you're just a
ridiculous.
conduit shrine full time.
Yeah, from the very beginning of the game. Just because I feel like the Ruby would probably be better overall, but just helping that with I feel like you'd be able to just run through areas and the less stopping that you have to do, maybe the more EXP you get. Be one of
Oh
those
yeah,
math things.
you just reminded me, actually, a little aside, for anyone that's playing seasons right now and gets those legendary gems. I've actually been like toying with them. Like you can get like rare rings by gambling them from Kadala and just roll a stat for really really cheap on a rare ring. So
Hmm.
I've been doing that to get. I mean, I'll get a good ring that's got at least some good damage stats in it, and then just throw a gem in it. And I actually got the Goblin Portal my second public game I played when I hit 70, just on normal
Nice.
difficulty, so it wasn't ridiculous. But I got the legendary gem from the Goblins, so I popped that in my ring, and I'm sitting at 20 million gold right now because gold just explodes like everywhere. It's
Yes.
everywhere, all even in Greater Rifts. Like I know they were supposed to like make that not happen. I guess I don't know if it's a bug, but even in Greater Rifts, gold is just flying
Oh, it
everywhere.
still comes off the mobs in Greater Rifts.
Yeah, it does. At
Wow.
least with that gem. I know that they nerfed it on like one of the gloves or the bracers that make it when you get survival bonuses or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, I forget what it's called, but yeah, they
The
nerfed it on some of
Gladiators
the things.
gauntlets.
Yes, those, and something else too. But no, it's definitely still going on for me. And like I said, I'm sitting at about 20 million gold right now, and all my stuff's upgraded all the way except for my stash. I'm still sitting at one stash tab because I'm trying to see how long I can hold out.
So that is Boon of the Hoarder is the gem. If people are hoping to find, I was going to ask you guys how you'd begun gold. I forgot to mention that, but we just heard from you, Nerdward. So how is your How was your gold use as you leveled up, Katniss? Were you constantly broke, and could you do your artisans or what?
We bum rushed our artisans just because, again, like I was saying, since we were doing rifts, we weren't spending a lot of gold on crafting or enchanting or anything like that. So there really wasn't much use for it besides gem upgrades, which I was using for the rubies, and then just upgrading your artisans. So we had our artisans up to 10, probably like halfway through the leveling process. But after 9-ball logged off, I kept playing, and I think it was maybe like my third or fourth round of going through Act 1 bounties trying to get the Ring of Royal Grandeur. Like N3rdwords, I popped into the vault and ended up with that gem, which absolutely just gives you so much gold. You get
It's
a ton
awesome.
of gold. Yeah, you get a ton of gold just from doing the vault, so it gives you a nice, little stack to work with. But then you keep that gem on while you're farming easy stuff, and it's just so much like free gold, basically.
Especially right now too with the bonuses. I mean, you've got double gold this weekend and double goblin, so you have essentially a double chance to find the portal and double the gold once you're in it. So it's a really nice time if you're getting into seasons and stuff. Definitely recommend trying to farm that if you can or know how.
I think that runs through Tuesday, so people still have a day and a half or so.
Yeah.
And then when they'll be posted on Monday, so get on, play it while you still can. Double goblin.
Yeah, you got like 24 hours.
Gold.
Go.
Go.
So any final thoughts, guys? You obviously you're both pretty enthusiastic about the whole seasons thing, aside from the cheesiness of the level 70 in an hour and a half.
Yeah, that would be my final thought. Is hopefully they fix that, and I want to go do some more greater rifts.
And you guys could go play together, but you're not hardcore.
I know. I fail. I know.
It's like a Montague and Capulet kind of thing.
Oh, that's the best part on the forums is like all the people complaining about the cheese. I mean, posting in the general forums on the official Blizzard forums, and then all the hardcore players coming up behind him was like, "It's because you're an idiot. You play softcore and it doesn't matter." And I'm just reading it like, some of us aren't idiots and just don't like re-rolling when we die. But yeah, I feel you. But there's so much EPing.
I hate that.
And if not for those hardcore guys posting, you never would have thought of that, You just never would have crossed your mind. Thank God they came there to set you straight.
I know, right?
Now you finally realize the error of your ways.
Yeah, now I know that I'm a noob and an idiot. I'm very sorry.
Isn't the internet awesome? It teaches you so many things.
Yeah, there's especially on the Diablo 3 forums. I'm telling you, man, we're a pack of winners here.
Oh man.
Did anyone explain to you that your mother is the fattest human being to ever live on Earth?
No,
as well?
it didn't go that far because I didn't feed the troll.
No Xbox Live then.
Yeah, I was reading.
They say all those things about your mom, but then they also like had sex with her too. I don't get it.
Yeah, all of them at once because she's the size of a Titanic. So.
There you go. Right.
Well, they never said they had good judgment.
Yeah, right.
Women or whatever.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Tells you everything you need to know.
Okay, so we'll give maybe an update on seasons next week or so. But it seems like the gold rush was this weekend, and I'm wondering how long it'll be until this feels like it was, a month ago or 2 months ago. I mean, obviously there's some new seasonal items, but it seems like if people are rushing. You're almost Paragon 100 level Katniss,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A lot of people never got to Paragon 100 at all previously, You've got it in 2 days, so it's going to be interesting to see.
I'm very curious when the burnout feeling will hit. We'll see though. I think right now there's still plenty of stuff to chase, and it depends too on how stale the leaderboards get. Because if it gets to a point where no one's progressing, then yeah, you're gonna feel like okay, we're done here.
Yeah, there's nothing that's got me wanting to go back to my other characters right now. So hopefully that lasts a while. But I would estimate it'll probably take at least a couple months before I get burned out. Now that'll be different for each person, I'm sure. But for me, I'm really stoked on it right now.
Yeah, they haven't announced how long seasons are going to run. They said that will be pretty soon. One of the European forum community managers. That was really well said, wasn't it? One of the European community managers said we'll let you know about this pretty soon, but they haven't said how long it'll be. And people I think are kind of assuming it'll be 3 months because that's how long they usually last on Earth, unless you live in. It's ironic because if you live in Irvine where Blizzard is, you only have 1 season a year, possibly 2.
Yeah, there you go.
I was talking to Waterfiend after he just started there, and he's now Tyvalere or whatever his name is, and he was like excited about the weather because he moved from South Texas.
Oh God,
where it's like 1,000 degrees with humidity every day, and he was like it was 72 this morning, and it was no humidity. He's like all excited. I'm like, well, get used to that because that's every single day of the year except for like a few days in December.
Yeah,
where it drops to 71.
Sometimes 68.
Ooh,
and maybe a little bit overcast.
Yeah.
But the joke about Southern California is they don't have weather, they have climate.
Yeah.
So you just have kind of the same thing every day forever. And it's funny talking about seasons because of course they have no seasons in Southern California, but so as far as Blizzard knows, they might only have 2 a year because isn't that how seasons work in the real world? Whereas you guys are in Alabama and Massachusetts where you actually have weather to some degree. Certainly in Massachusetts you have seasons.
Oh yeah.
Down here,
So-
it's just hot and like kind of chilly. That's it. Like today, it rained all day, and it was still like 95 degrees, and you couldn't even walk outside without like just feeling like you were drowning in humidity.
Oh dear
Yeah,
God.
and all the crosses that are burning, they
Yeah,
smoke really
so
badly
many
in
of
the
them.
rain, so-
So many
I
of
hate
them.
that. So thanks for your time, guys, and good luck in the seasons. And hopefully I'll get to level 30 by next weekend, and then I can be like a big kid. I can wear big boy pants at the big boy table.
We got faith in you.
Probably not. No, I've held too many jobs down. But anyway, you've listened to the Diablo 3 podcast. We are online at DiabloInkGamers.com and
Ooh.
seasonal
Moo 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 moo.
Season move.
Have either of you guys gotten the Rainbow Goblin?
I
or
actually
Whimsy?
did.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
got him too.
Did you go to Whimsydale?
Yeah, and it was completely pointless. I mean, it was
Yeah.
fun, but it
It's the
wasn't.
same shit
It's
as
just another
always.
Yeah.
zone.
Yeah, it was just another zone to clear. It was. I actually got it in a rift, which I didn't know was possible.
Whoa, really?
Yeah,
Just a regular Nephilim riff, I think.
yeah, just a regular rift. I was in a rift and it popped. And he even looked different. I didn't know that they were actually going to look rainbowy. I
Oh,
didn't
yeah, they're like
bother
blue.
looking at it. Yeah, they're really cool.
So when you finished it, did it put you back in the rift or what?
Yeah, it spawns a portal at the end instead of like a little like obelisk or whatever. Instead of an obelisk to go back to town, it gives you another portal that takes you right back to where you were.
Oh, that's one thing. I hate that the vault doesn't have a thing that brings you back to where you entered the vault.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
actually a good point.
That's been a complaint, and the blue said, "Yeah, that's a good idea. We should look into that." So.
Well, the community's on it pretty quick.
Hello, welcome to the Diablo 3 podcast. We are online at DiabloInkGamers.com. I'm your host, Flux. I'm joined on the show by Wolfpaq and by Rankil.
Greetings.
And this is part 2 of our season spectacular, our C-stacular. Anyway, it's a word like that somewhere. And the last podcast I just did with N3rdwords and the other guy, Katniss. The first topic I got to mention to you guys again to hear what your takes on it are. We talked about it for a while on the previous one, but of course, the cheesing your way to 70. So how did you guys handle the first night? Did you see the cheese? Did you anticipate the cheese? Did you do softcore or hardcore Rankil? And what happened for the first few hours?
I did hardcore. There was a few ways that I wanted to make, because my main goal is, I wanted to try and be on that first page of, the 1 to 70. And softcore for sure, the only way you could do it was doing the, Miner's Gold, Matriarch's Bones, Jar of Souls, and Miser's Will, and using those on T6, because those are what I like to call them as the no-kill bounties.
Well, you don't kill monsters; they kill
Yeah.
you, though, as it turns
Yeah.
out. That's how people were doing
Well,
it.
surprisingly, as you get higher up, you actually can do them probably 60 plus. You can do them on T6 even without dying.
Yeah.
I did it on Seasons with a Crusader, and when you use that with like Akarat's Champion, you can actually like not die doing those. Beside the point, so since I was doing it, I did hardcore, so I couldn't really, I could use them, but the fact that I would eventually die at some point in time and screw up. So what we did is we actually leveled up. Well, we started off the game, went to the Skeleton King. Before killing him, we exited out of the game, and then we went straight into bounties so that we got like a little bit more levels to where we could get to getting sockets in items. And then we went back because it was like just as we got in our 20s, because I think it's like 19 or 17 or 19 that you can get a socket and a helm. So we went back then to the Skeleton King because it's a 50-50 shot or something of getting Broken Crown or Leorix. And because that way, if we got Leorix, you'd get a double bonus of the XP in the helm. But none of us in our group ended up getting it. We all got Broken Burger King crowns. And
Did you get any Leoric signets?
no, we didn't get any of
That's
that. I got like a cane set pattern when I was like in my 60s or earlier. It was like late 50s or something like that. And I was like, well, that's great.
there's
Yeah,
some.
I'm like, I can't really use that because it's too much of an EHP hit. But I probably could have still used it. But
So how long is 70 for you?
I made it, I was like 190th or something, 190 something. It was like a little over 7 hours, but we pretty much leveled up on hard difficulty and moved up kind of to expert. But I think there was a guy who was in my clan who outleveled me by an hour, but he was seemed in a more solid group because we started out with 4 guys and then eventually at the end of the night it was 2. So, he had 3 people in his group, and I don't know, he just seemed to be doing a little bit better on the hard. I tried bounties for a bit, thinking that I would catch up to him, but then, or not bounties, rifts. But it seems like rifts were just like you could get really lucky and have a super dense, and you would go through it really quick and you'd get good XP. But then just as much like in greater rifts, you could get screwed with the RNG. and end up having a really sparse riff that would take you twice as long as all the other ones. So it was like just doing like Act 1 bounties, that seemed to be the best in doing that on hard. And I heard some of the guys in hardcore, like the top guys, were running like Halls of Agony on expert or something like that, and they weren't even doing bounties or anything else. They were just killing stuff in like high dent zones, which makes sense. But
So how about you, Wolfpaq?
I did hardcore because I didn't want to mess around with exploits and I wanted to play the game normally. And I ended up getting 99th place. And I was...
So what was your method? Did you have a party of 4, or what difficulty level?
Well, originally it was just me and a real life buddy, and we were just doing... I tried to convince him, and this was his downfall. I was like, we should only do Act 1 because the monsters are really easy, and we know the zones because we did nothing but farm it in vanilla. So we should stick in Act 1. But then he convinced me we should do other acts. And when we were around level 48, he got killed by one of those suiciding maniacs.
Well, that's what he gets for leaving Act 1.
Exactly. So I was sort of soloing bounties for a while by myself, and then I'm in the which Ink Gamers clan is this? Ink Gamers Hardcore North is the clan that I'm in. And so I noticed someone was getting legendaries that was like two or three levels above me. And I whispered him, and I think his battle tag is Herk, H-E-R-K. And I whispered him and said, hey, can I join you? And he said, oh, we have a full group. 10 minutes later, he said, we have room for one. So
you were like, bing,
yeah,
bing, bing.
I was like, sweet. And yeah, those guys were only doing Halls of Agony level 3 over and over and over again in master difficulty. So
And not even getting bounties,
nope.
just clearing the whole level?
Just clearing the whole level. If we felt really fortunate. We didn't even do the, what's his name? If the bounty was to kill the butcher, we didn't do it. We skipped it. Just only killing the high density monsters. If the bounty was to clear the chest, then we were like, yay, good coincidence, or, just as good as if we found one of those yellow pools. But yeah, it was only killing monsters. And I'm not convinced that was the best way to go, because I was keeping up with them in a solo game with bounties. I mean, I wasn't, obviously, like I said, I was a couple levels behind, but then my buddy had died and I was soloing. So, but I'm really, really familiar with the Act 1 bounties, and I was on Crusader, with 2 really fast movement skills, and made sure to have boots of 10 or more movement speed. So I was clearing at a good clip, and I don't know if every class can do that.
How about did you have Leoric's hat or ring or rubies in your helm, or what was your overall? Did you get lucky drops?
I didn't get lucky with Leoric's. I did get lucky with Kane's set, and I crafted it. So, and I used it until around level 60, at which point I decided it was not worth the risk of...
It's like a level 31 set, right? Or 34?
21.
21.
Yeah.
And you're bringing to level
60.
Yep,
and I said, you know what, it's not worth this risk. I've come so far. So I scrapped it for 3 appropriate level items.
And you said you were 99 overall for hardcore in the whole world? I mean,
in
the whole US server, though?
Yeah.
And you were playing solo and 2 people and...
Well, that was how it was until around level 48 when my buddy died. Yeah. And then I was solo for like another level or 2, and then I joined with Herc and his 2 buddies, and they took me straight from 50 to 70. We ended up all hitting 70 in the same game. They just hit it earlier in the game than I did.
It's funny because Katniss did it totally differently, and he was like in the high hundreds in hardcore. So it's funny. There's 3 different stories of hardcore, all of whom did pretty well, and all of you guys had very different strategies. So the next question I have is, what would you do differently next time? And apparently everyone has got a different strategy, and it seems like the next season is going to be. So you first, Rankil. What would you do differently? I mean, I guess you'll hear more strategies like people have done. But
yeah.
What did you do wrong? What could you have done faster?
I don't know. I mean, there was also actually a part where it was after we killed or got to Leoric's door, we actually were doing Miner's Gold on T4. It was like T3 and T4 we were doing it, and it was okay because we had like a decent amount of gear from going through and progressing up to Leoric. So we were able to at least run around, and I was the one who was doing the running, and everyone else was sitting at the waypoint. So I was the one taking the risk, and but like that was
what class were you?
I was a monk, and so that.
So you don't really have any magical movement skills, though.
I had dashing.
I guess Tempest Rush or
dashing strike. That was about it.
Yeah, just using that. But you can only do that twice when you're out of luck. Though.
Yeah, so you have to be really, really cautious on using it. And then it was like 17. I think you get Serenity, so it was kind of It was some spots it was getting a little sketchy of doing it, and that's kind of why we ended up we went back because we were looking in the clan and seeing what the other guys, and there was a guy who was basically the same level as us doing it, and I'm like, well, what is this guy doing? You know, and he's the same level, and I'm like, are you doing Miner's Gold, or are you just killing stuff? And he's like, no, we're just killing stuff on hard. And I'm like, that makes more sense because, I mean, it's a lot less risk than what you were doing. I mean, yeah, ours could have been potentially better, but, you know, in hardcore, it's like you screw up and you die. You know, that's it. I mean, if you're trying to do a race, it's like you can't win the race if you're dead. So, yeah, but I don't know. I mean, if I did it again, I would probably do the same thing and stick on hard. We moved up to expert for a little bit, but it's like the bonus XP that you get like 50% more XP, I think, but like the monster's health is like is a lot more or something. It's the other way around. Maybe it's like they have 50% more health and then you end up, but either way, it's like it's not worth it to go, I think, into expert. I think just on hard because like you're trying to go around and I mean, if I was to do another class, like Demon Hunters would be better for clearing it just because like Vault is ridiculous for clearing, you know, to get in the bounties, and it's all really about, it's mainly movement speed when you're doing bounties. You know, it's not so much really
in between mobs. Yeah.
And you know, so it's like if I was to pick like, you know, cherry pick a class or something else, I mean, a Demon Hunter would be the best, but I mean, I don't know what I'd play for next season, but I'd probably just stick to hard. Or I mean, you could do, it seems from what I've heard is like a lot of guys doing those Halls of Agony farming, though. That seemed to be, I mean, because it's consistent, it's the same stuff, you know, the layout of it, you know, the monsters are still there, it's good density, it's, you know, it kind of the whole thing is trying to remove, you know, as many variables as you can, whereas like Rifts are 2 variable, whereas they have, you know, good rewards and bad rewards, but it's just on average it was still worse than doing bounties. And then
so how about you, Wolfpaq? Obviously getting 2 more friends who can actually stay and play all night would be a benefit.
Right. I think for me, it's just make sure you have 4 people because that's 75% free XP bonus.
And one of them's not dicking around in town all the time, too.
Right, yeah. 4 people who are all focused. I don't know. I liked the class setup that we had. We had 2 Crusaders and a Barbarian, and I was one of the Crusaders, and we both took the Condemn that sucks monsters in, and so we would take turns, you know, running forward, pulling in a ton of monsters into a really tight radius for the Barbarian to whirlwind them down, and then we had a Witch Doctor. I'm not entirely sure what the Witch Doctor was doing the whole time, but
leeching apparently.
I'm sure they were contributing, but I don't think. I mean, monks have that skill that brings monsters in, right? And Dashing Strike and the mantra of conviction. I think I'd want a monk. I mean, apparently they had a monk before the monk died.
Well, there you go. But I'm sure he gave his life for the party.
Yeah, and we had moments of silence as we approached level 70 for our fallen comrades.
Either that or you were AFK, one of the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice
silent,
reading the death notices in the clan chat this time around, as opposed to the first time in Reaper of Souls when that came. There was so many, and just you'd see the person die, and then it's just a scrolling list of RIPs, for the entire clan, spamming the guy, making him feel even worse.
Yeah.
Good luck getting back to 70, dude.
Yep.
So was it fun? I mean, was it fun? Was it a grindy endurance that you only did because it was a new thing once, or did you actually enjoy it? And both of the other guys said it was a blast. No. They said their friends list was like super populated, and it was like a real sense of community.
I love it. I mean, I wish that they would do more leveling things just like this, like on a weekend thing. Because I mean, if you look at it, it takes it's less than. I mean, for the most part, it's less than 8 hours. I mean, softcore is even quicker because people were doing it in under 2. But the way that you do it is if they have like leveling contests like that. I mean, you don't even have to make it get to 70. Do like a 2-hour leveling one or a 5-hour or something like that. Just like certain time periods, whoever gets the most experience. It's like, I mean, it's kind of. I mean, I hate to say that the Path of Exile, the way that they do it with their shorter, kind of smaller league things, but like these things are kind of fun when you do this. And I actually have done some other Diablo like leveling contests. It was that Archon the Wizard. He ran some ones that were like, going with his stream, and it was like, I think there were 4, there was like a 4 and a 6-hour one that he was running, but like, we only had 20 some people that were running in it, but I mean, it's fun because, you feel in a rush to go through and do this stuff fast, but that, it's not just 20 people that are doing it. You're going against thousands of people that are doing it, and it just kind of makes it more exciting.
So you got in the top 100, Wolfpaq. Can you and your EP both fit in the same room today?
It was a lot of fun. I didn't think that running halls over and over was boring at all. It reminded me of bail runs, and since we were running it on mess,
Except there's no bail.
right? But
In that part.
because it's the same zone, same very similar map over and over, not identical like bail was, but very similar map and very similar monsters every time. It's like skeletons, cultists, and big ugly dudes, and that's pretty much it. And I really liked how focused we had to be because it's everyone's first run through. Not everyone is super geared. We were all sharing gear. Three of us were strength users, which was really helpful, and it was a lot of fun.
And then the witch doctor was back in town talking to Leah.
Yeah, no, I mean the witch doctor was spamming poison. I think she had the talent that made the poisoned monsters deal less damage, which presumably could have saved our lives at some point.
Presumably. You're not actually sure it was there, but
No, I mean, it was neat that we all had to focus fire so carefully. Like I said, the Crusaders kept on sucking in monsters, and all of us would be focusing our AoE down onto this one tight group of monsters. And it's just not the kind of thing I've had to do that often in my experiences with Diablo 3 because people get fed, and then we're in Inferno, and then we have super strong loot, and you can do really well even if you're by yourself. Like it required a coordinated effort of 4 people, not just a couple people carrying and a couple people leeching. Like literally all 4 of us were on the same screen for the vast majority of the time because no one wanted to miss out on XP. And we would leave behind single monsters because we would all dump all of our AoE and kill 50 out of the 55 monsters in the room, and then everyone would just immediately be moving on to the next room. It was a pretty good group, so I think that made it pretty.
which of course no one will ever do again now, but it was fun getting to 70
Yeah.
though, right?
No, it's actually really good with the changes to the single rift stones. Like I've been running public games right now, and I mean people go through, you get done with the rift, like while the 30 seconds are going, people sell stuff, but once it goes, instead of everyone standing around there going like, hey, someone open the rift because it's not going to cost their 5 fragments, it's like the guys opening up the rift and everyone's back into it. I mean, it feels a lot better once they removed, I mean, because that was probably the one thing that was hurting public games, really was like the whole thing of everyone standing around and fake AFKing, and then all of a sudden you'd open up the rift and then everybody is back from AFK,
It's like reaching for the check with a bunch of friends at dinner.
Yeah.
Everyone's in this super slow motion. No one wants to quite get
yeah,
there.
they're like, no, you do it. No, you do it. It's like, yeah.
So have you guys carried on? I mean, did you get to 70 and uninstall the game and go watch TV, or are you going to Paragon 100? What is your plan, Rankil?
I went through, and I kind of started doing some stuff. I actually went pretty much I hit 70, because I had saved up all of my blood shards that I got from doing bounties. Gambled for a few pieces of gear, and I was actually like right into Torment 1, killing stuff on there. It was a bit slow, but I was still able to do it. And then there was also like the next day, because my buddy he made it late and he wasn't even really playing too much the first night, so I ended up power leveling him the second night on Saturday so that we could go through and get him up to 70, and then his Demon Hunter now is like ridiculously geared, even just from being on the first night. And then on Saturday morning, I slow rolled my rift so that I could, progress, rift 1, and then I would spawn the Rift Guardian, and then I would actually TP out, go run bounties, and then when I came back, I needed to make sure that it was 4 minutes and 30 seconds or less was left in the rift, and I would kill the Rift Guardian, and then I would upgrade my keystone to 1, but then I would get, the guaranteed gem on it, so that way I could use the least amount of Greater Rift keystones in order to get all of my gems. And then once I got my gems, I just started doing Greater Rifts and just gearing up. I mean, I think right now I did an 18, and I have an 18 and a 19 sitting on my character, but I'm like 22nd, I guess, overall on the Americas for monks, so it's pretty good.
What is your Paragon?
Gosh, I think I'm like 74, so...
So how about you, Wolfpaq? Have you continued playing and you're leveling still?
I was busy yesterday in real life stuff, so I was not able to continue. And I was busy for most of today too, so I'm...
Well, you got your sub 100. I would just drop the mic and walk away.
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking my time now. I rolled a softcore character to get to 70 because I still don't really enjoy hardcore all that much. I just wanted to, I wanted.
You just proved you could do it. So.
Yeah, I mean, not dying isn't hard, but the hard part is getting good gear while not dying. And I don't know. Once I get that good gear, I don't want a freakish mistake to cause me to lose it. So I'm leveling like slowly, taking my time up in softcore. I did a couple. The guys were really excited about hitting level 70 Friday night at and it was much. I was anticipating being up until 2 or 3 in the morning, and we hit it at 12:30. So I was like, well, I can stay up a bit longer because I was totally planning on it. And we did some bounties in our like normal split. Let's see, Act 1, farming for the Royal Grandeur ring, and I actually got it. And I was like,
Already?
And I was like, this is such a waste because it's hardcore and I'm not going to... So I don't know. I'll probably end up playing...
You can put it in the auction house.
Yeah,
oh, wait.
You're right. I'll sell it on a real money auction house, get hundreds of... No, not going to happen. So, yeah, I don't know. I'll just slowly level up in softcore and enjoy, not rush, not in any sort of rush anymore. I got my top 100 finish, and I'll be happy with that.
You're retiring while you're ahead. Quit while you're ahead, right?
Exactly.
Which is something very few hardcore players do, including myself. So how was the gold in the economy? People are wondering how, the whole struggling to upgrade artisans again. It seems like no one's had much problems with that, but possibly because we have this double gold weekend thing going. Were you broke the whole time, Rankil? How did that work out for you?
Define broke. No, I ended up, let's see here, because when I was running Torment 1 and I was doing some bounties, I ended up getting the vault. So that was that brought me from, gosh, I had 6 million to 26 million. So I got 20 million through that. Plus I got that Boon of the Hoarder gem, which I was using that plus the gold wrap to help me on my progression. And then running through, I was doing some normal bags on bag farming on public games. And I ended up getting another one that was in there, and I got another 6 million gold. And then running, it was T2 games with my buddies. Ended up getting another one. So now I'm up to 80 million gold or something like that right now. So it's kind of...
What do you even need that much gold for now? You have nothing to spend it on.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's I like the zone, and I think it's cool. And it's nice that you don't... It's not super rare, because I still haven't even seen a cow level, and I've played for, I don't know, I think in Reaper of Souls 400 plus hours, and I haven't seen a cow level yet. Yet I've seen 3 of these things and all this other stuff. But it's to me though, it just nullifies the need really for gold, because you end up, you go through and, you'd be sitting there with 50k gold or, something like that. But then now all of a sudden it's oh, go run these things. And if you're on Torment 6 or something like that, you're getting hundreds of millions of gold in it. So it's kind of I don't know. I like the idea of it, but it just seems kind of it just removes the need for, gold as a currency.
I don't think many people have gotten 3 of those in one weekend on double gold weekend, though. So
yeah, I guess
you might be a little atypical.
That is...
How is your gold, Wolfpaq? You just have tons of it and you're just throwing it away because you don't care anymore? Got your Scrooge McDuck pool built?
No, I've maxed all the artisans, but since I stopped playing, pretty much...
Yeah, you don't...
What do I care? Yeah,
cool. It's just hardcore money. It's not real money.
I did also spawn the Greed realm once, and so... But I wasn't in Torment, I was in expert, so I got 7 million, 8 million gold, but it was more than I needed, right? So yeah, I was able to level the artisans perfectly fine as I leveled up, and when I hit 70, I got all of them to level 12, no problem. So
the last question I have on my list is, how long should seasons last? Was this fun because it was a one-time thing, you've never done it? Do you want to do it again next weekend? Do you want to do it again 6 months from now?
I don't know. I like the leveling things, like I said, I don't know about making it, kind of an every weekend type thing, but, almost, you look at the format of, I don't know if you ever played Warcraft 3, but you'd have kind of weekend tournament type things if there was some sort of a, time-based something, I don't know, or maybe, they would do some sort of thing on a weekend that you could do in a day, but, 2-3 months seems pretty good because the progression now of your characters is really fast compared to, Reaper of Souls came out, and it's not the first day I wasn't on Torment 1. It was, and then it's the power of the legendary gems and everything else, it's it kind of raised the bar of what your character's capability was, but everything else in the game, basically remained the same. So, I don't know. I mean, 2-3 months is pretty good to get yourself, you know, pretty situated, and then start progressing those riffs. And at least, you know, kind of once you get to the point, it's like everyone at the end, at some point, you know, you're looking for that star metal, you know, type rarity of a weapon, and that's really the only thing that's going to define your build beyond that. So at least once you get to that point, everyone else can start catching up over that time, and the rift boards seem okay. But
What do you think, Wolfpaq? Are you going to play the next seasons, or you've proven that it can be done now and you have no more need
No,
for
I
that?
had a lot of fun, and I would like seasons. I hope I would prefer that they not be too short, because I feel like if they did something crazy like 6 or 8 seasons in a year, it would sort of devalue the accomplishments, because someone say you're number one on the ladder, you know, and then you're just like, oh well, the ladder's resetting next week, so that doesn't really mean much, you know what I mean? So I prefer it to be a little bit longer than 2 months, personally, because it just gives people some time to farm and enjoy it.
you know, this season has a theme to it, and then the next season is going to have a different theme, so that even though you're playing the same game, it's going to be a different experience, you know, when you're leveling up through it. Or, you know, I don't know, maybe they make it so that like only you can only roll wizards or something in it, you know, or I mean, who knows. But I mean, doing something to make it like a restriction, or even, you know, changing gameplay mechanics would make it more interesting, I think, for seasons to come.
What are your final thoughts, Wolfpaq? How would you fix seasons and make them better?
I'd like for there to be more season specific stuff, because
Legendary items.
legendary items. Yeah, sorry, yes, specifically I would like there to be more, but because that really gives you an incentive to play in the seasons. And the legendaries they have planned out, most of them sound pretty cool to me, but there's only like 10 of them. And
Well, there's a legendary health potion. Don't forget that.
yeah, and the legendary health potion, you know, like when I think of Diablo seasons, or ladders, you know, it brings me back to Diablo 2, where you had, I don't know, 15 rune words that could only be found on top of a bunch of legendaries, or uniques at the time. So I I don't know if I would want, um, the game to be totally different for seasons, but I would like for there to just be more incentive to play seasons, because there are more cool uniques you could find, which adds variety to the gameplay. And then it would be okay for seasons to last a little bit longer, because you have more cool items to try to find before it rolls back over into normal.
Maybe there will be next time, and they knew the first time it would be the novelty would be just that you could do this, you know, in the rush of the leveling.
Yeah,
And next time they'll be like, okay, we need more bells and whistles. We'll add in more special
yeah,
features.
like 2 or 3 items per class, and
You know, you'd go to look at the level leaderboard, and there's nothing that's listed on there. But if in, you know, in D2, it would show everybody, you know, so whoever was the highest person that's on there, you could at least still see what level, you know, the highest person was. And it's kind of,
It would have been more fun to race if you
yeah,
could see
and it seems like, I mean, you know, like you're talking about earlier, is that, you know, it's like, okay, these guys are going, you know, in the clan or something else, and they're thinking they're going at a good pace, and then all of a sudden it's like, you know, you're in your 20s, and then these guys are, you know, 70 or something. You're just like, wait, you're like, what? You're like, it doesn't, you know. And if you notice that everyone is going faster, especially in hardcore, you know, it might get people to start pushing more, which gets a lot of those people at the top to even kind of get themselves killed, maybe because they're trying to be too aggressive or something else, you know, and get themselves killed. And it's kind of, if you just go at your own pace, it's like the whole thing of whenever, you know, in forums or anywhere else, you would say, oh, I'm real excited for seasons, and people would say, well, why would you want to run seasons? You can just do that yourself right now, you know, restart a character and start over.
But it's different.
Yeah, and I mean, with this, I knew that other people were there, but it wasn't apparent to me, you know, because I didn't know what my rank was, and I didn't know what my position. And like, I always use seasons as a comparison to like marathons. Like, you can go run a marathon, you know, and it's fun because you're surrounded by thousands of other people. You know, it makes this whole thing, and even if you suck and you're in the middle of it, it's still a fun experience because you know this whole experience around you. But then that do it by yourself is like, okay, I'm going to go run a marathon distance around the block. It's kind of like, how is that exciting? You know, and I felt like I was kind of cheated out by that, by not seeing the rest of it, and I was more or less just comparing to my clanmates, because those were the only people, you know, and people on my friends list, and those are the only people that I could really compare to see what my progress was.
It'd be nice if they had achievements for every 10 levels at least. You know, if nothing else, at least you could see someone dinks to 30 and you're only at 22. You're like, oh my god, I'm falling behind.
Yeah.
So in closing, Wolfpaq says if you die in hardcore, you suck. So you've been listening to the Diablo 3 podcast. We are online at diabloinkgamers.com, and we'll have more season stuff next week, or possibly in 3 months, depending on how these things go. And moo.
Moo.
Moo, 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 moo.
Moo.